This is the PPT, right, ma'am?
Yes, this is.
Yeah, which slide you want me to play? From the beginning?
No.
Just tell me the slide number, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm telling. It's 11.
We
It's
did
13.
simulation information gap.
13. It's 13.
Yes. We were on brainstorming.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, we can start with the session, ma'am.
All right. So, my dear participants, a very warm good morning to all of you. I hope that all of you have taken your tea because it's not the time for lunch, though its name is lunch break. So, it's actually a tea break. And all of you are ready for the next session. So, this is a session on speaking practicals. Before we go ahead, it will be a good idea if there could be some recapitulations. We can think about, just take a 2 minutes time, look at your notebooks if you have any, if you have noted something, and if you can tell me something about that what we done in the 3 sessions that were taken previously. 2 were about speaking theory and 1 was about speaking practicals. If any of the participants or some of the participants can please share something. You can either write in the chat box or better if you unmute yourself and say something, because it would not be a good idea to start right away without talking about the previous things, the previous knowledge. Speaking activity, Jyoti Chaudhary, yes. Listening skills, socio factors. Vocabulary enhancement. Yes, anyone, any other inputs? Anamika ji? Anamika ji?
Yes, ma'am. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Since
Link
many
share
inputs
karna.
are not there, and I think that the students and the participants, sorry, not students, have forgotten about the previous things that we discussed. So it would be a good idea if we start the PPT from the beginning. We'll just have a
Okay.
quick, yeah,
Ma'am,
quick
just give me
review.
1 minute. Actually, I have to share the link for live presentation. So I'm just
All right,
copying the link. Just give me 1 more minute.
all right, all right. So dear participants, we on 4th of November, there were 3 sessions of speaking. I was talking about the recapitulation of those things. So we did some theory things. Can you recall something that what did we do on those theory things?
Ma'am, from the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay. This one?
What is speaking? Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So that day, dear participants, we started with what is speaking. And we reached on the conclusion that producing meaningful sounds in order to convey some messages or ideas or opinions, etc., that is meant to be listened by someone is called speaking. And then we talked about that what are certain problems with speaking, and speaking is called the foremost skill. In all the four skills, speaking is called to be the foremost skill, number one skill that is required by the participants of any learner of the language. It is called that if one is proficient in speaking, it means he is proficient in that particular language. And that is the reason that every corner on this of the road we find a lot many speaking centers, spoken English centers are available. So here is the case of English language, and this is the skill that is most difficult by our learners to learn, to acquire. And then we discussed about the problems, why it is so that it is so difficult for the learners. We talked about, now I think you can recall something. Can any of the participants please tell why it is difficult? Why speaking is such a difficult skill for our learners to master?
Basically, it's not a prime first language or mother tongue.
Yes.
Hello, and they are not in practice of it.
All right. All right.
Ma'am, there is no environment for suitable situation.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. Anyone else? One very important factor that we discussed was that speaking is most difficult task because planning and production, both things go simultaneously and on the real time. We cannot practice much beforehand. We cannot plan much beforehand. We have to plan everything while speaking. We have to focus on planning and production both. Planning means whatever we are thinking about the topic, about the grammar, about vocabulary, about sentence making, sentence construction, about pauses, about intonation, everything we have to think at the same time, and at the same time we have to maintain the fluency and accuracy. And that is the problem. Planning and production, planning is related to accuracy and production is related to fluency. So because both the things are done at the real time and uh, real time and without any prior preparation, that is why it is most difficult. Many learners, many speakers, many teachers, many people say that they have spent many years on learning English, but still they are not proficient speakers. So this is the problem with speaking of a second language, any second language, because you have to produce something without planning at the same time, and spontaneously you have to do. So we discussed it. Next slide, ma'am. Yes. Next, we discussed, should we teach speaking skills in the ESL, EFL classroom? Why? Why not? Should we teach speaking skills in the classroom? In our classrooms, common schools?
Yes, of course, ma'am.
Yes, because it is most important skill, and any language cannot be said to be taught until and unless all the four skills are mastered by our learners. Thank you, ma'am. Next slide, ma'am. Yes, here is a one brainstorming sort of thing for you. Have you ever thought of warm-up activities given in the textbook? Can you recall any of the warm-up activities? What type of warm-up activities are there in your textbooks? Anyone from any class, class 6, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th? If you remember anything, you recall something,
Ma'am, motivations.
can you explain?
If we we speak, you speak very well, and it's good. There is not a fear of any error, mistake.
All right.
Means,
Okay, my question was, have you ever thought of warm-up activities given in the textbook? Whenever there is a lesson of literature, we are going to start either it's a poetry or prose, whether we are going to take up any lesson or start a poem, there are certain warm-up activities that are given in the textbooks. Have we ever considered them? Have we ever thought about them? What are they?
Yes, ma'am. Warm-up activities actually bring the class into that mind. Their mind frame is developed appropriately, and they are in a way ready for the chapter.
Yes,
Like
thank you very much. Okay.
if we talk about a simple poem that is Trees in class
Yeah,
7 by Shirley Bor.
yeah, yeah.
In the beginning only, it is asked that students have to discuss with each other about what all trees they have seen around, what all names they know about the trees,
Hmm.
and also tell about what all things trees give us. So when
All
they
right.
talk about these things, they in a way come into that mind frame that yes,
Hmm.
the poem is going to be about this particular topic, and these all things must be there in the poem. So the warm up activities actually prepare the students for the chapter.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Wonderful answer, ma'am.
Thank
Uma
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Uma.
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am, we can ask this type of question related to this chapter
Hmm.
and connect uh, the chapter, and
Hmm.
we encourage about that we are going on in this chapter.
Hmm.
Students have queries, what are going on in this chapter.
Hmm. All
We
right, ma'am.
we ask many questions and
Hmm.
connect with.
All right. All right. Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much, Vijeta,
In,
ma'am.
hello, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Jyoti
In
ji.
class 7, there is a poem on squirrel. So students were asked to draw the squirrel on blackboard. So so they can get involved in the poem and to check their pre-knowledge if they know what squirrel is, what
Hmm.
she does, what she eats, and all that.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So if you have discussed about three activities, three examples you have given that these type of warm-up activities can be done. Now, if I ask you to categorize these three activities into the skills, what type of skills do they develop? Do they fit in any category? Either they are writing activities or reading activities or listening activities or speaking activities. What type of activities are they?
They
Ma'am,
are actually
definitely speaking
thinking
activities
and
है.
yes, speaking about what they are thinking. So they are giving
Yes,
words to what comes in their mind.
yes, yes. So
Hmm.
that is my point actually. That is what I
Yeah,
wanted to
they make
connect.
them speak. Yes, because
Yes,
they have
yes.
it is actually I feel that
Hmm,
these warm-up activities are actually based on their previous knowledge. Like we
yes.
can say PK testing, previous knowledge. So
Hmm,
when
hmm,
they already have knowledge of something, they
hmm.
feel like speaking and they
All right.
extract some speech out of the children. So
All
this
right.
is why warm-up activities, they are good enough. They are important actually and very instrumental in making the students speak.
All right. Very good. So my point of asking all these things was that in our literature chapters, warm-up activities are meant for speaking. Means speaking skill is taken care of very easily and very spontaneously and very naturally in the literature chapters. So if we think that there is a need, there may be a need of arranging or of organizing speaking activities separately, but still if we do not do that, still there is a room of organizing or speaking activities or speaking practicing speaking skills in our literature chapters already. So we can, here is an example, Sarika ma'am, next, Anamika ma'am, next slide. Yes, thank you, ma'am. So who did Patrick's homework? So this is a lesson, and before you read, this is the previous knowledge, or yeah, this is the beginning activity. Discuss in class. Do you like homework? Do you do it yourself, or do you get help? What homework do you usually have? So this is an example that I have taken from a lesson. I think, which class is this? 6th or 7th?
Class 6. Class 6.
Class 6th.
Class 6. Class 6. So who did Patrick's homework? So this is the beginning activity, and this is the speaking activity. That is my point, that we are giving a situation, we are giving a prompt to our children to speak. And this is how speaking activity is organized. So this activity can be organized. How can we do this activity? What can be the way of starting or doing this activity if we want to develop it in a full speaking activity? If we want that the whole class starts speaking on this particular prompt, and this today is a speaking day for my class, and the students must speak. So how are we going to organize this activity? Any ideas?
Ma'am, we can ask this type of question: do you like homework? And
I mean to say, how will you organize? How will you manage your class? This is a question of class management actually. How are you going to do that? There can be various ways.
Ma'am, we can make two groups, those who like to do homework and those who don't like.
All right, very good. Very good. Yes, and then there can be discussion, good discussion or debate rather. All right. Any other way? If you can suggest any other way. That is one way, one method, one way of doing this activity, that we can divide the class into two groups. One likes the homework and one doesn't like the homework. And the second way can be that we can divide the students into pairs, and then they can discuss. Do they like homework? Who helps them in homework? And we can elaborate this activity by adding some of the questions. Whose help do you take? Why don't you like the homework? What's the problem in doing the homework? So these type of prompts can be added if we want to enhance this activity. So one way is dividing the class into two groups, favor and one is in favor and one is in against of homework. Second way is making pairs. Third can be group of small groups of 4 and 5. We can put 5 students together, 6 students together, and we can ask them to discuss. So it can be a full-fledged speaking activity. And another way can be that the general way that we generally teachers do, because of various constraints, we generally ask this question, and we just ask the students to raise their hands, and whoever raise their hand, they just answer the question. So there are certain ways that I talked about. Can you tell me which way did you like the most? Which way would you like to choose for your speaking class, and why?
Ma'am, definitely the pair work is a good idea.
Yes. Why?
Ma'am, I feel because it gives almost all the students a chance to speak, even if they have the same answers. So they at
All
least
right.
get a chance to speak, and That is the attention that they get in the class. So it is a good boost for them to be
All right.
noticed.
All right. All right. One more thing I would like to ask. There are questions in this activity. There are questions. Do you like homework? Do you do it yourself, or do you get help?
Yes.
And the fourth question is, what homework do you usually have? Do you think that these are good prompts to start conversation, to start speaking, or do we need to add something more?
Ma'am, I feel like the questions that have been given here, the first two parts are very yes or no, just one
Yes.
simple answers. So that is the beginning for them to speak up. Like the
Yeah.
third part, do you get help? Then how do you get help? With whom do you get help? So these, obviously, these prompts are the ones that the teacher will give in the class, or they can themselves expand on it. But for in some cases, students tend not to speak unless they're asked. So this kind of prompt should be given in the book as well. How give two examples, or maybe you can explain is in this way. If the prompts are given in the book only, the students will be more inclined to speak up.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
otherwise they will just speak and then go quiet.
Yes. Yes. Otherwise, they will just answer in yes or no, and they won't say
Yes.
anything. So it means that
Yes.
whenever there are these type of activities are to be organized for speaking purpose, if we are taking them, then they will have to be supported by some more prompts, some
Yes.
speaking
And
prompts.
yes, ma'am, one more thing I would like to add. If, for example, some child says that I don't like to do homework, then
Hmm.
the prompts can be, why don't you like? How would you do this
Yeah.
homework in other way if you like? So that is
Okay.
where their creative thinking start. They can also
Yes.
start thinking. Their creativity
Yes.
comes into play.
Yes. And what type of homework do you want?
What kind of homework do you want exactly?
Yeah. If you don't want this type of homework and you are not interested in doing this, then what type of
Yes,
homework do you want?
definitely.
Yeah. So yes, thank you very much. So that was the point. Means whenever we are going to give, whenever we want our students to buzz, whenever want our students to speak, the prompts should be of right type. If we are going to give this type of prompts, only very limited response will come, and there will be very limited speaking. For a speaking class, there the prompt should be open, the question should be open-ended, not closed-ended, like do you. These type of questions only produce yes, no type of answers. Okay, next slide, ma'am. In the first three sessions, we also discussed that teachers have to provide authentic practice that prepares students for real life communication situations. They have to help their students develop the ability to produce grammatically correct, logically connected sentences that are appropriate to a specific context, and to do so using acceptable, that is comprehensible pronunciation. Means before start speaking, the students have a knowledge, have a working knowledge of how to pronounce, how to make sentences, or how what should be a grammar structure or the vocabulary that needed. And that day also we discussed that there should be vocabulary, pre-teach vocabulary, lexical sets we talked about, that we can give them certain lexical sets. If we are going to talk about any situation regarding weather, if we are talking about weather, the topic of the day is weather, then all the words related to weather should be discussed beforehand. And for the beginners, it can also be a good idea to give certain structures of speaking. Structures of speaking means some ready sentences can be given, in which certain words, content words can be changed, and sentence ready sentences available, so that they can have the beginning, and they can have the confidence that yes, they can also speak. Can you suggest some prompts, or can you recall any activity? I'm recalling an activity that's all the students start speaking and they have confidence, yes, that they can speak. Can you recall one or two prompts or any such activity that Yes. So, can you suggest any activity? In which, okay. So, yes, is there anybody? Yes, Vidhuji.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is just an example that I took for class 9. The topic was The Lost Child by Mulkraj Anand. So,
All right.
since for them, first thing I realized was that maybe these students may never had ever seen a fair, village fair.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
had no idea what a village fair is, what happens. So ultimately, the first thing I asked was if you have ever attended a fair, what kind of things you
Hmm.
see. So there was a
Hmm.
lot of variety that I heard that we go to the Diwali Mela, this and that. So
Hmm.
that in itself involved a lot of speaking. And then
Yeah.
then I focused on some common things that you find. So there were stalls, there were rides. So these were the
Hmm.
things that the students explained.
Hmm.
And then then we gradually came on to the main topic, what happens to the child and everything. So this involved a lot of short
Speaking.
description also. There was a writing activity that they wrote a description of usually what a fair is.
All right.
So these
All
are the
right.
things that they wrote about.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Vidhuji.
Okay.
I'm also going to share, that was a really nice activity that you did, because in that way what did you do that you were asking questions? Actually, you talked about the vocabulary and you gave them prompts and they were able to speak with the help of those prompts. And there can be some, there are rather two activities. One is ball game activity and the other is Ravi went to the market. Have you listened? Anybody can explain? Have you ever done this activity, or have you listened this about this activity ever? The ball game activity and the activity that is called Ravi went to the market. All right, no, it means you have not. So let me explain them. There is this activity that is called ball game. In this activity, what do we do? That we take some topic. For example, we have taken summer vacations. All right. And the teacher makes a circle of the students. If there are less number of students, say 25, 30, 35 in class, then there can be one circle. If the class is bigger, then there can be two circles. And what is done? If we are making one circle, we need one wall. And if we are making two circles, we need two balls. So what do we do? That the teacher starts a prompt. For example, for summer vacations, my name is whatever. For example, my name is Prachi, and this summer vacation I went to my mama's house in Chandigarh. This is one structure. I went This summer vacation I went to my mama's house in Chandigarh. Yeah, this summer vacation I went Chandigarh. This summer vacation I went Chandigarh. So what did I do? I took the example of past indefinite sentence, simple past indefinite sentence, and I want my students to practice this structure. In this way, they will learn so many things. They will learn grammar, they will learn sentence structure, they will get confidence how to speak. The teacher will say this prompt, and then the teacher will throw the ball to someone. Because this is a ball game kinesthetic activity, so the students will love this activity. They generally love this activity, even the participants. If we were doing this activity face to face, I must have done this activity with all of you. So what do we do? That I went to the sorry, this summer vacation I went to Chandigarh. This active Then the participant, who is the student who is going to catch the ball, will repeat the same sentence. This this summer vacation I went to Chandigarh. If he wants, he can change Chandigarh to anything, my village, to the hilly area, to Nainital, or whatever. So in this way, all the students, so this is a ball game activity. The ball will be thrown, and whoever catches the ball will repeat the sentence. So this is how we can start our students speak. And there can be numerous variations to this activity. Any type of a structure can be practiced. You can choose any whatever topic you want. For example, Mela, the fair activity, the fair Mulk Raj Anand. So we can do this activity based on this chapter as well. We can start that I went to the fair and I saw, for example, snake charmer, and so on. And the students can do it. So this is one way of the speaking activity of just beginning and how to give them structures. This is an example how the students can be given structures of the sentences, and based on that structure, they can start their speaking and they can do. And then there was another activity that was Ravi went to the market. It is also very similar to it. Ravi is a character, is an imaginary character. We can change it, we can replace it with any name, or with I went to the market, or I went to the fair and I enjoyed riding. I went to the fair, I enjoyed eating samosas or jalebis or something. So in this way, this activity can go on. It can be mixed with the ball game, or it can be a separate activity. This activity can be a very good activity for recalling as well. What we do, that the 10 students are sitting, smaller groups are made in this activity, and 10 students are sitting together in a circle or standing together in a circle. And what do they do? For example, I am the first speaker, so I will speak the activity. I will start the activity. I will say, I went to the market. Yeah, I went to the fair and I saw snake charmer. The second student will say, I went to the market, I went to the fair and I saw the snake charmer and camel ride. So they will keep on adding. So it is recalling activity. It improves their vocabulary, it improves their memory, it improves their recalling, and improves their speaking as well. And they are practicing around a structure. So these are two activities which are all-time favorite. Very many times they are tested and they are always a success. So this is one way that we can start our students to speak, that if we want that they should speak, they can do this. Anamika ma'am, next slide, slide number 13. Yes, yes, thank you ma'am. So this is brainstorming, one activity. One of the activity, there can be role plays, there can be discussions, there can be simulations. We talked about them in the previous sessions. Now, right away, I am coming to the brainstorming session, because I saw that time is always already 12:12. We have to wind up in time, on time. So this is brainstorming activity. On a given topic, students can produce ideas in a limited time. Depending on the context, either individual or group brainstorming is effective. Learners generate ideas quickly and freely. As you can see in the picture, there are smaller groups. A class is divided into 3 groups, and 4-5 students are sitting on one table, and then the topic is given by the teacher, and then they are generating ideas. And one thing is done, that time limit is given in this activity. 1 minute time or 2 minute time is given according to the standard of our students, according to the topic, and then they start speaking. The good characters of brainstorming is that the students are not criticized for their ideas, so students will be open to sharing new ideas. They are not criticized even for the content or for anything, that why are they saying, or no questions are asked. This is just a brainstorming, as we discussed in who did Patrick's homework. So whether the students are saying yes, they like the homework, whether they are saying no, they don't like the homework, nobody is going to judge them, nobody is going to penalize them. So they have the liberty, they have the freedom to speak, and this can be a very good activity. So this is brainstorming. Next slide, ma'am. Yes, storytelling, all-time favorite. It works with each and every class and with each and every student. There is no student is there who doesn't like listening stories or telling stories. So there are certain ways of telling stories. there are certain modifications of the activity. Students can briefly summarize a tale or story they heard from somebody beforehand. This can be one way. If there is storytelling activity going on in the class, so either students can tell a tale that they have already heard, they can use their own words to explain it. Then they may imagine their own stories to tell their classmates. There can be variation. They can be asked to use their imagination and to speak up, to build, to cook a new story, altogether new story. They can use their imagination. And then there is storytelling fosters creative thinking. It also helps students express ideas in the format of beginning, development, and ending, including the characters and setting a story has to have. Means before we ask our students to start the storytelling activity, we can tell them that uh, this is the way they have to tell the story. There should be a beginning, proper beginning, and then the idea should develop, and there should be ending. So they can be given some ideas. Next slide, ma'am. Picture narrating. We already discussed about this activity, picture narrating, and this can also be a very good activity. This activity is based on several sequential pictures. Students are asked to tell the story taking place in the sequential pictures by paying attention to the criteria provided by the teacher as a rubric. As you can see that in the pictures, there are six pictures you can see. So, in the previous sessions, we discussed that any speaking activity can be categorized into two broad terms. One is topic-based activity or the task-based activity. So, how in which category would you did this activity will fall? What type of activity is this? Either it is a task-based or
Ma'am,
a
task-based activity.
All right, all right. Why do we choose task-based activities? What is the reason?
Ma'am, some pictures are given and students thinks about that and create a story.
All right, Vijita ma'am.
As
Yes.
it is picture narrating activity is activity they are doing by learning by doing.
All right. Yes. Any more inputs? Why do we choose?
Yes,
Why do
ma'am.
we choose task-based activity? What is the use of that?
Ma'am, Swati here.
Yes, Swati ji.
Task-based activities, I think, give students an ample space to express their views freely without thinking about the rules or regulations. They can use any vocabulary they have with them. They can explain anything in their own way, in their own language. I mean, if it is the second language, whatever information they have, whatever vocabulary they have, in that particular resources, they can explain or express themselves.
Okay. Okay.
Also, ma'am, it actually allows the student to just focus on the task at hand and not think about the end product. So topic
Yes. Yes.
they
Thank
keep
you,
thinking
Viduji.
about that I have to complete this. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. I was searching for this answer. Thank you very much. Actually, this is the benefit of task-based learning. That when they are involved in task-based learning, they are not thinking about the language. The pressure of producing language, meaningful language, correct language is taken away from the students. They are not worried about the language anymore. They are worried about completing the task. And in the process, they are producing language. They are practicing speaking without knowing even. Because now they are worried about the pictures, what pictures they are, what does the picture says, how they are going to explain the picture. They are into the picture, their mind is into the picture and not about constructing a sentence or speaking, or about the content. So the pressure of content is relieved, the pressure of content is gone, the pressure of pronunciation is gone, the pressure of making structures is gone, and now they are just worried about explaining this picture. So that is why I said, in the previous sessions also I said that for the beginners it is better that we engage ER students in task-based activities rather than in topic-based activities. Thank you. Next slide, ma'am. Yes. Reporting activity. This is generally done in assemblies in our schools, but this can be a very good class activity as well. Before coming to the class, the students are supposed to bring some interesting news. They will listen the news the previous day or in the morning before coming to the class, and then they will explain what news did they like most interesting. Why was that most interesting? So they will narrate that particular news, that piece of news. Next slide, ma'am. Picture describing. It is again the same. Picture describing, there is one picture and then they need to explain it. Yes, yes, yes. Then there are speeches. This is all-time favorite of our students and of the teachers as well. This is purely topic-based activity. The students are not involved in any tasks. They are given a topic beforehand. They prepare their presentation and then they speak. What are the limitations and what are the benefits of this activity? Can anybody explain what are the limitations and what are the benefits as a speaking activity, speech as a speaking activity?
One of the
Ma'am, thinking
limitations.
not involved in this type of activity. They prepare some topics, and this activity is pre-planning.
Yes.
It also actually does not help all. It does not cater to all the students. Like if somebody is a bit weaker in the speaking part, then he or she may not be able to confidently present the speech. So it can work on those students who already have a good of how to speak and good pronunciations. They will benefit from it. It can refine their skills as such, but it becomes quite difficult for a very new learner to start a speech in that case. That is one of the limitations I feel.
All right. So on the bigger platform, it is true that only a few students will be involved in this activity, and only a few will get a chance. And it needs a lot of confidence on the part of the student to speak before the class. But it enhances. There are certain benefits of the speech as well. The students get ample time of preparation. They have the time to write their speech, to memorize it and then speak. So if they are able to produce certain sentences before the class, it definitely gives them a good confidence, boost of their confidence. So this is the benefit of speech, and the limitation is this, that all the students are not involved at the same time, and it is not easy for the beginners to do speech or to produce a good speech. Next slide, Pam. Yes. So this is a summary of all the PPT. Activities that promote speaking, discussions, role play, simulation, information gap, brainstorming, storytelling, interviews, story completion, reporting, picture narrating, picture describing, and speeches. So, any participant, if you would like to ask something or add something. Yes, next slide, ma'am. Yes.
Ma'am, can
Previous
you
slide. Previous slide, ma'am. Yes, yes, Vijeta ji. Yes.
ma'am, can you repeat simulations?
Yes. Simulation is like role play. Simulation is like role play. In that activity, the students are given the roles, and for example, they are given that you are a pilot, and then you are going to suppose that you are sitting in a plane. You will have to imagine that you are sitting in a plane and you have to play the role of the pilot. What type of questions are you going to ask? What type of instructions are you going to give in to the crew members or to the passengers? So everything is the speaker is going to imagine himself or herself as a pilot, and everything will be done in that that environment only, thinking that he's sitting in an aircraft and he is a pilot. And to add more more pepper to it, we can ask the students to wear the uniform or have some props. So this is simulation activity.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Any more questions?
I don't think. I think everything is very much clear to them. No more queries.
Okay, Namika ji.
Huh. All the participants try to implement all this when you teach to your students, and only then you can face more problems. And you are free to share your problems as well as your queries with us. Now we'll have a 10 minutes of break. It's a short tea break. So I'll see you again at 12:40. Okay, 12:35 or 12:37 ke around I'll see you again. Then we'll have a session or a period on entrepreneurship, EMC. You must have heard this topic. So we'll have a short discussion by Mrs. Prabha Unial and our next RP. So let us have a break of 10 minutes, then we will meet again.
Okay, thank you, Namika ji, and thank you all the
Okay,
participants.
thank you so much, Prachi
Yes.
ma'am. Thank you so much, Prachi ma'am.
Okay, okay, bye.
Bye bye.